Commander Sarah Chen felt her stomach drop as the console exploded in sparks around her. The navigation systems had been failing for the past hour, but this was different. This was catastrophic. "Hull breach in Section 7, shouted Lieutenant Rodriguez from his engineering station. "We're losing atmosphere fast." The exploration vessel Meridian shuddered violently as it tore through the atmosphere of the unknown planet below. What had started as a routine survey mission had turned into a nightmare when their jump drive malfunctioned, stranding them in this uncharted system. "All hands, prepare for emergency landing," Sarah barked into the ship's communication system. "This is not a drill." Through the viewport, she could see the planet's surface rushing toward them. Rolling hills covered in strange purple vegetation stretched as far as the eye could see. In the distance, odd crystalline structures jutted from the ground like frozen lightning bolts. The ship's artificial gravity flickered and died. Sarah felt herself floating momentarily before the emergency systems kicked in, slamming her back into her command chair with bruising force. The Meridian groaned like a wounded animal as its hull scraped against something hard. Metal screamed against stone. The lights went out. Then everything went silent, except for the hiss of escaping air and the crackle of small electrical fires. Sarah's ears rang as she slowly opened her eyes. Blood trickled down her forehead from a cut on her scalp. Around her, the bridge was a mess of sparking circuits and twisted metal. But they were alive. "Sound off!" she called out, her voice hoarse. "Rodriguez here. I'm okay, but engineering is a mess." "Communications are down," reported Ensign Parker from her station. "But I'm breathing, so that's something." One by one, the crew of 12 reported in. Miraculously, they had only suffered minor injuries. The Meridian's hull had held together just barely, though the ship would never fly again. Sarah pulled herself from her chair and surveyed the damage. Through a crack in the hull, she could see orange sunlight streaming in. The air that entered smelled strange. Not quite right, but breathable. Their atmospheric sensors had indicated the planet's air was compatible with human lungs, though with a higher oxygen content than Earth normal. "All right, people," Sarah said, taking charge. "We're stranded, but we're alive. First priority is to secure the ship and take inventory of our supplies. Second priority is to figure out where we are and if there's any intelligent life on this planet." The crew worked efficiently despite their dire situation. Years of training had prepared them for emergency scenarios, though none quite like this. They sealed the hull breaches with emergency patches, restored minimal life support, and began cataloging their resources. Dr. Amanda Foster, the expedition's xenobiologist, was the first to notice something unusual outside. She had been collecting atmospheric readings near the ship's main airlock when she spotted movement in the distance. "Commander," she called over the temporary communication system they'd rigged. "You need to see this." Sarah made her way to the airlock, stepping carefully over debris. Through the reinforced window, she could see what had caught Dr. Foster's attention. About a kilometer away, near one of the crystalline formations, small figures were moving with purpose. They were roughly humanoid, but smaller than humans, with 4 arms instead of 2. Their skin appeared to be a pale blue color, and they seemed to be carrying tools or equipment. "Intelligent life," Sarah murmured. "The question is, are they friendly?" As she watched, more of the alien beings appeared. They seemed to be gathering materials from around the crystal structures, chunks of the same crystalline material, along with what looked like metallic ore. But strangest of all, they appeared to be building something. "What do you think they're doing?" Dr. Foster asked. "I have no idea," Sarah replied. "But whatever it is, they're working fast." Over the next few hours, the alien construction project grew larger and more complex. The beings worked in coordinated groups, and their construction showed a level of technological sophistication that impressed even the stranded humans. Whatever they were building, it was clearly advanced. "Should we try to make contact?" asked Lieutenant Rodriguez. Sarah considered this carefully. First contact protocols existed, but they were meant for planned encounters with proper diplomatic support, not for shipwrecked humans on an alien world. Not yet, she decided. Let's observe first. We need to understand their capabilities and intentions before we reveal ourselves. The aliens continued their construction work as the day progressed. The humans watched from their damaged ship, trying to understand what they were witnessing. The structure being built was unlike anything in human engineering. It seemed to bend and flow like liquid metal, yet maintained rigid geometric patterns. Dr. Foster documented everything she could see. Their construction techniques are fascinating, she noted. They appear to be manipulating matter at a molecular level. See how the materials flow together seamlessly? That's technology we can only dream of. As evening approached, the alien beings lit their work area with devices that produced a soft, even glow. They never seemed to tire, working in shifts that kept the construction going around the clock. They're definitely building something specific, observed Ensign Parker, who had been tracking the construction's progress. It's not random. There's a clear plan here. But what's the plan? Sarah wondered aloud. That question would haunt her through the night. Whatever the aliens were building, it was big, complex, and being constructed with urgent efficiency. And somehow, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that it had something to do with their crashed ship. The next morning brought new developments. The alien construction had grown substantially overnight. What had been a small foundation was now a towering structure that reached toward the sky. Its purpose was still unclear, but its sophistication was undeniable. More concerning, however, was the discovery that the aliens had been near their ship during the night. "Commander, you need to see this," called Dr. Foster from outside the airlock. Sarah joined her and immediately saw what had alarmed the scientist. In the soft earth around their ship, there were tracks, the distinctive four-fingered handprints and unusual footprints of the alien beings. They had been close enough to touch the Meridian's hull. "How did they get so close without us detecting them?" Rodriguez asked. "They're more advanced than we thought," Sarah replied grimly. "And now they know exactly where we are." The implications were troubling. If the aliens had wanted to harm them, they could have done so easily while the humans slept. But they hadn't. Instead, they had simply observed and then returned to their construction project. "Maybe they're not hostile," suggested Dr. Foster hopefully. "Maybe," Sarah agreed. "But that doesn't mean they're friendly either. We still don't know what that structure is for." As the day progressed, the alien construction took on an even more ominous appearance. Tall spires emerged from the central structure, and energy began to flow between them in patterns of light that hurt to look at directly. Whatever it was clearly some kind of advanced technology. "It's a machine," concluded Rodriguez after studying it through the ship's remaining optical sensors. "A big one. But what does it do?" The question became more pressing as evening approached, and the alien machine began to emit a low, thrumming sound that could be felt as much as heard. The frequency seemed to resonate through the ground itself, making the damaged meridian vibrate ominously. "That can't be good," muttered Parker. Sarah made a decision that would change everything. "We need to know what we're dealing with," she announced. "Tomorrow, I'm going out there to make contact." The crew exchanged worried glances, but none argued. They all understood that waiting and wondering might be more dangerous than taking action. As night fell over the alien world, the mysterious machine pulsed with increasing intensity. Whatever the aliens were building, it was nearly complete. And tomorrow, the humans would finally learn what it was for. Sarah Chen stood at the observation window, watching the alien lights dance in the darkness. She had led her crew through dangerous missions before, but never anything like this. Tomorrow would test not just her leadership, but humanity's place in a universe that was far stranger and more complex than they had ever imagined. The thrumming sound grew stronger, and Sarah felt it in her bones. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. She only hoped they were ready for what they would find. Dawn came with an unsettling quiet. The alien machine had stopped its thrumming during the night, leaving behind an eerie silence that made everyone aboard the Meridian nervous. Sarah Chen checked her equipment one final time before stepping toward the airlock. Communication device, check. Emergency beacon, check. Translation software, check. She looked at Dr. Foster. "Are you sure the atmospheric readings are still stable?" "Perfectly safe for human respiratory systems," Foster confirmed. "The high oxygen content might actually give you an advantage if you need to move quickly." Lieutenant Rodriguez handed Sarah a small device. "Emergency recall transmitter. If things go bad, trigger this and we'll create a distraction to cover your retreat." Sarah nodded and sealed her environmental suit. The suit wasn't necessary for breathing, but it provided protection and monitoring systems that could prove vital. "If I'm not back in 4 hours, consider me compromised and implement Survival Protocol 7. "Understood, Commander." The airlock cycled open with a soft hiss. Sarah stepped onto the alien soil for the first time, immediately noticing how the higher gravity made her feel heavier but more stable. The purple vegetation crunched softly under her boots, releasing a sweet, almost floral scent. The alien structure loomed ahead, even more impressive up close. It stood nearly 50 meters tall, its crystalline surfaces reflecting the orange sunlight in dazzling patterns. The spires she had observed from the ship were actually intricate arrays of geometric shapes that seemed to shift and change as she watched. Movement caught her eye. 3 of the alien beings had emerged from behind the structure and were approaching her position. Sarah forced herself to remain calm and open her hands in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peaceful intent. The aliens were fascinating to observe directly. Their forearms moved independently with fluid grace, and their blue skin had a subtle iridescent quality that shifted colors as they moved. They wore what appeared to be simple clothing, flowing robes that seemed to be made from the same crystalline material as their structure. Most remarkable were their eyes, large and multifaceted like an insect's, but clearly intelligent. Sarah could feel their gaze studying her with the same curiosity she felt toward them. One of the aliens stepped forward and made a series of musical sounds that might have been language. Sarah activated her translation software, though she doubted it would be of much help with a completely unknown language. "Hello," Sarah said clearly, pointing to herself. "I am Sarah, human." She gestured toward the crashed ship. "We came from the stars. Our ship is broken." The alien who had spoken tilted its head, a gesture that was almost human-like. It raised 2 of its 4 hands and made different sounds, slower this time. Then, to Sarah's amazement, it began to produce sounds that resembled human speech. "Sarah, human, ship, broken." Sarah's excitement was overwhelming. The alien was already learning her language after hearing it only once. "Yes, you understand. I am Sarah, human. What are you called?" The alien made more musical sounds, then attempted human speech again. "Keth Knoll, we are Zephyrians." Its pronunciation was strange, but clearly understandable. "Keth Knoll," Sarah repeated, trying to approximate the musical quality she had heard. "I am honored to meet you." The alien, Keth Knoll, seemed pleased by her attempt at their language. The other 2 aliens moved closer, their large eyes studying Sarah with intense curiosity. One of them reached out with a tentative hand, stopping just short of touching her environmental suit. Keth Knoll made more sounds to its companions, then turned back to Sarah. "Your skin, is it hard like shell?" Sarah realized they were curious about her suit. "No, This is clothing. Protection. She carefully removed her helmet, showing her face and hair. This is my skin. The reaction was immediate. All three aliens made excited musical sounds and stepped closer. One of them, braver than the others, reached out and gently touched Sarah's hair with one finger. The texture seemed to fascinate them. Soft, the brave alien said in halting English. Strange, beautiful. Thank you, Sarah replied. Your skin is beautiful too. The way it changes colors. This seemed to please them enormously. Kethnol began speaking more rapidly, occasionally switching to English words it had learned. From what Sarah could understand, they were excited to meet another intelligent species and were eager to share knowledge. Your ship fell from sky void, Kethnol said, gesturing upward. We watched, saw fire and smoke. Were you injured? My crew is safe, but our ship cannot fly anymore. We are stranded here. The aliens exchanged rapid musical conversations. Then Kethnol turned back to Sarah with what might have been excitement in its multifaceted eyes. We build help for you, it said, pointing to the massive structure. Machine to fix sky void travel. Sarah's heart raced. You're building something to help us? To repair our ship? Not repair ship. Ship too damaged. We build new sky void path. Sarah didn't fully understand, but the implications were staggering. These aliens, whom they had only just discovered, were constructing technology to help them return to space. Why would you help us? You don't know us. Kethnol was quiet for a moment, seeming to search for the right words in English. Intelligent life is precious, rare. When we found you, we studied your ship from distance. Your technology is different from ours. Interesting. You think in ways we do not. Another alien stepped forward and spoke in musical tones. Kethnol translated. Vextil says your ship's design shows you solve problems with, how do you say, force and precision. Your methods are direct, efficient. We solve problems with harmony and flow. Different thinking, both valuable. Sarah began to understand. These aliens weren't just helping them out of kindness. They were genuinely interested in human technology and thinking patterns. It was a scientific exchange. Can you show me what you're building? Sarah asked. Kethnol's skin shifted to brighter colors, which Sarah was beginning to recognize as a sign of pleasure. Yes. We are eager to show human thinking how Zephyrian thinking works. They led her around the structure, explaining its function through a mixture of broken English and gestures. What Sarah learned astounded her. The Zephyrians had analyzed the Meridian's quantum signature and were building a device that could create what they called a sky void tunnel, essentially an artificial wormhole that would allow the humans to return to space. This level of technology, Sarah breathed. You can manipulate space-time itself. Is natural to us, Kethnol said with what seemed like modesty. But your ship shows thinking we never considered. Metal shaped by force, joined with heat and pressure. Your engines use controlled explosions to create movement. So direct, so powerful. Sarah realized the aliens found human engineering as fascinating as she found theirs. They worked with harmony and natural forces, while humans relied on controlled violence and brute force engineering. Neither approach was better. They were simply different. How long until your machine is ready? She asked. Sky Void Tunnel will open when next moon rises, Kethnol replied. But what? The alien's skin shifted to more subdued colors. Tunnel will be temporary, must be used quickly, and can only send 12 Sky Void travelers. 12 travelers. Exactly the number of humans on the Meridian. Sarah felt a chill. How did you know there were 12 of us? Kethnol's large eyes seemed to sparkle. We watched, we counted, we billed for exact number. The precision was unnerving and impressive. These aliens had not only decided to help complete strangers, but had tailored their assistance to exact specifications. Sarah was beginning to understand that humans had encountered a species that might be far more advanced than they initially appeared. "There's something else you should know," Kethnol continued. "Your thinking patterns, your direct approach to problems, this is valuable to us. We have faced challenges that our harmony thinking cannot solve. Perhaps human force thinking can help." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "What kind of challenges?" The alien gestured toward the horizon, where more crystalline structures could be seen in the distance. "Our world has areas of great danger, places where our harmony fails, where force might succeed. We would learn from human methods." It was a trade proposal. The aliens would help humans return to space, and in exchange, they wanted to understand human problem-solving approaches. Sarah realized this could be the beginning of something much larger than a simple rescue. "I need to discuss this with my crew," Sarah said carefully. "Of course. But know this, Sarah Human. Tomorrow when Tunnel opens, you have choice. Return to your sky void realm or stay and help us learn new ways of thinking. Some could go, some could stay." The offer was tempting and terrifying. Stay on an alien world to help an advanced civilization solve problems that their own methods couldn't handle? It was beyond anything they had imagined when they started this mission. Sarah spent the rest of the day learning more about Zephyrian technology and culture. She discovered they were naturally cooperative beings who solved problems through consensus and harmony with their environment. Their technology worked by enhancing and directing natural forces rather than overpowering them. But they had encountered situations where cooperation and harmony weren't enough. Geological instabilities that required brute force solutions, predatory creatures that couldn't be reasoned with, environmental challenges that demanded direct intervention rather than gentle persuasion. "Your species," Kethnol explained, "survived by conquering challenges through strength and determination. Our species survived by working with the flow of natural forces. Both methods have strengths. Both have limitations." When Sarah returned to the Meridian that evening, she found her crew eager to hear everything. She described the aliens' offer and the technology they were building. "They're offering us a way home," she concluded, "but also an opportunity to stay and help them solve problems they can't handle with their usual methods." Dr. Foster was fascinated. "The scientific exchange possibilities are unlimited. We could learn technology that's centuries ahead of ours." Lieutenant Rodriguez was more practical. "But we'd be stranded here permanently. No guarantee we could ever get home." "Not all of us would have to stay," Sarah pointed out. "Some could return with the intelligence they've gathered." The crew debated long into the night. By morning, they would need to make a decision that could affect not just their own lives, but potentially the future of human-alien relations. As Sarah looked out at the alien machine pulsing with energy in preparation for tomorrow's activation, she wondered what choice humanity should make: the safe path home, or the dangerous path toward a larger universe of possibilities. The decision would test everything they believed about duty, exploration, and the price of knowledge. The decision came at dawn, but not in the way Sarah Chen had expected. Dr. Foster shook her awake with urgent whispers. "Commander, we have a problem. The alien machine. Something's wrong with it." Sarah bolted upright, instantly alert. Through the observation window, she could see the Zephyrian structure flickering erratically. The smooth patterns of energy that had flowed between the spires yesterday were now chaotic, sparking and jumping unpredictably. "What happened?" "Unknown. But Kethnol is outside requesting immediate assistance. It sounds desperate." Sarah dressed quickly and met the alien leader at the airlock. Kethnol's skin had shifted to dark, agitated colors she hadn't seen before. "Sarah Human," the alien said, its voice carrying new musical undertones that suggested distress. "Great problem. Machine fails. Sky void tunnel cannot open." "What went wrong?" "Underground stone flow disrupts harmony patterns. Machine cannot achieve balance. Without balance, tunnel creation impossible." Sarah frowned. "Stone flow? You mean geological activity? Earthquakes?" "Yes, deep stone movement creates discord. Our harmony thinking cannot overcome discord. We try many approaches. All fail." Sarah's mind raced. This was exactly the kind of problem Keth Knoll had mentioned yesterday, situations where the Zephyrian approach of working with natural forces hit a wall. "Show me the problem." Keth Knoll led her to the machine, where several other Zephyrians were working frantically. The alien technology was sophisticated beyond anything human science had achieved, but Sarah could see the fundamental issue immediately. The machine was designed to work in harmony with natural energy flows, but the underground geological instability was creating random interference that disrupted the delicate balance required for the space-time manipulation. The Zephyrians kept trying to adapt to the chaotic patterns, but the disruptions were too unpredictable. "Your people have tried to work around the geological activity," Sarah observed. "Yes. We attempt to flow with disruption patterns, but stone movement has no rhythm, no harmony, pure chaos." Sarah smiled grimly. "That's because you're trying to work with it. Sometimes you need to work against it." She activated her communicator. "Rodriguez, I need you and Foster out here immediately. Bring the seismic analysis equipment and the emergency demolition charges." "Commander?" Rodriguez's voice crackled through the comm. "Did you say demolition charges? Trust me, and bring Thompson and Martinez too. We're going to show our new friends how humans solve impossible problems." Within an hour, Sarah had assembled a team and was studying the seismic data from their ship's sensors. The underground instability was caused by a pocket of unstable rock formations about 50 meters below the alien machine. The geological stress was creating random vibrations that interfered with the delicate quantum harmonics the Zephyrians needed. The elegant solution would be to somehow work with the seismic patterns, Dr. Foster noted. "But they're too chaotic to predict." "Exactly," Sarah agreed. "So we don't work with them. We eliminate them." The Zephyrians watched in fascination as the humans set up equipment they had never seen before. Seismic charges designed for mining operations were repurposed for precision underground detonation. The humans calculated exact positions and timing to destabilize the problematic rock formations in a controlled manner. "You intend to create explosions beneath our machine?" Keth Knoll asked, its skin shifting to colors that suggested both amazement and concern. "Controlled explosions," Sarah corrected. "We're going to collapse the unstable formations in a specific sequence that will actually stabilize the underground structure. But explosions create more chaos, not less." Lieutenant Rodriguez grinned as he programmed the detonation sequence. "Not if you do them right. Humans have been using controlled violence to solve problems for thousands of years." The Zephyrians were skeptical, but curious. Their philosophy was to work in harmony with natural forces, while the humans proposed using force to reshape those same natural forces. It was a fundamentally different approach to problem solving. "If your explosion method fails," Keth Knoll warned, "the machine will be destroyed. Sky void tunnel will be impossible." "If we don't try," Sarah replied, "the tunnel is already impossible. Sometimes you have to take calculated risks." The demolition took 3 hours to set up properly. The humans mapped the underground structure using sonar equipment from their ship, identified the key stress points, and positioned charges with mathematical precision. Each explosion would trigger in sequence, creating a cascade effect that would collapse the unstable formations while leaving the surface intact. "This is insane," muttered Ensign Parker. "We're setting off underground explosions next to alien technology we don't understand." "Welcome to human engineering," Martinez replied cheerfully. "When in doubt, Blow something up. The Zephyrians gathered at a safe distance, their skin colors cycling through patterns Sarah was beginning to recognize as intense curiosity mixed with apprehension. They had never seen problem-solving through controlled destruction. "All charges set," Rodriguez reported. "Detonation sequence ready." Sarah took a deep breath. If this works, we've just demonstrated the value of human thinking. If it doesn't work, we've just destroyed our only way home. She looked at Keth Knoll. "Are your people ready to restart the machine if the interference stops?" "We are prepared. But Sarah, human, are you certain this force thinking will succeed?" "No," Sarah admitted, "but I'm certain that harmony thinking has already failed. Sometimes you need to break something in order to fix it." She triggered the detonation sequence. The explosions were barely audible on the surface, just a series of dull thumps that traveled up through the ground. But the seismic monitors showed dramatic changes in the underground structure. Rock formations that had been grinding against each other in chaotic patterns suddenly shifted into stable configurations. Within minutes, the interference patterns around the alien machine began to settle. The chaotic energy discharges smoothed into regular flows, and the quantum harmonics that the Zephyrians needed began to stabilize. "It works," Keth Knoll said, its skin now brilliant with colors that clearly indicated amazement. "The discord is gone. Harmony returns." The Zephyrians immediately began reactivating their machine, but now they worked with an efficiency that hadn't been possible before. The underground stability allowed their technology to function exactly as designed. "Your force thinking solved in minutes what our harmony thinking could not solve in days," Keth Knoll observed. "This is remarkable. Dr. Foster was documenting everything. You didn't try to work with the chaotic patterns. You eliminated them entirely. It's a completely different philosophy." "Different but complementary," Sarah realized. "Your harmony thinking created the technology. Our force thinking cleared the obstacles. Together, we achieved something neither could do alone." The machine powered up fully for the first time, and the effect was breathtaking. Energy flowed between the spires in perfect patterns, and space itself began to shimmer above the central platform. The artificial wormhole was forming. "Sky Void Tunnel will be stable for 1 hour," Keth Knoll announced. "Enough time for all 12 humans to pass through." Sarah looked at her crew, and she could see the same thought in all their eyes. They had proven that human thinking could solve problems that stumped even an advanced alien civilization. The implications were enormous. "Keth Knoll," Sarah said carefully, "your people mentioned other problems that harmony thinking couldn't solve. What if some of us stayed to help?" The alien's excitement was visible in the rapid color changes across its skin. "You would do this? Share force-thinking methods with us?" "Some of us," Sarah corrected. "Others need to return home to share what we've learned. But yes, I think humans and Zephyrians could accomplish remarkable things together." Dr. Foster stepped forward immediately. "I volunteer to stay. The research opportunities alone are worth a lifetime of study." Rodriguez was next. "If you're staying, Commander, I'm staying too. Someone needs to keep you out of trouble." In the end, 6 humans chose to return home through the tunnel, carrying reports of first contact, alien technology, and the successful demonstration of human-alien cooperation. 6 others chose to stay and help the Zephyrians solve the problems that their harmony-based thinking couldn't handle alone. As the first group prepared to enter the shimmering portal, Keth Knoll addressed them all. "Today we learned that intelligence takes many forms. Harmony thinking and force thinking are both valuable. Together, they create possibilities that neither could achieve alone." Sarah was among those staying. As she watched her returning crewmates step through the wormhole, she felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. They were pioneers now, the first humans to live and work alongside an alien civilization. "What's the first problem you need help with?" she asked Keth Knoll. The alien's skin shifted to patterns that suggested both challenge and anticipation. There is a region where the stone mountains split and reform constantly. Our people cannot build there, cannot travel safely through it. But this region holds materials we need for expanding our skyvoid capabilities. Sounds like a job for controlled explosives and human engineering, Rodriguez observed. Exactly what I was thinking, Sarah agreed. Over the following months, the human-Zephyrian partnership proved even more successful than anyone had imagined. Human direct force approaches solved geological problems, predator management issues, and structural challenges that had puzzled the Zephyrians for generations. In return, the aliens shared technology and thinking methods that revolutionized human understanding of physics and engineering. The humans learned to work with natural forces in ways they had never considered, while the Zephyrians discovered the power of controlled opposition and directed force. Together, they developed hybrid solutions that combined harmony and force into something greater than either approach alone. When the next human ship arrived 18 months later, following signals sent through the original wormhole, they found a thriving colony of humans and Zephyrians working together on projects that neither species could have imagined independently. The crashed Meridian had been converted into a research center where human engineering principles were combined with Zephyrian harmonic technology. The surrounding area had become a hub of innovation where two completely different approaches to problem-solving created solutions that amazed representatives from both civilizations. Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the new joint research facility, watching human and Zephyrian teams work together on their latest project, a permanent, stable wormhole network that would connect multiple star systems. The technology required both the aliens' mastery of space-time harmony and the humans' expertise in controlled energy manipulation. Force and harmony, she murmured to herself, watching the two species collaborate effortlessly. Who would have thought? Keth Knoll approached. Its skin displaying the warm golden patterns that the humans had learned meant contentment and friendship. The new ships from your world bring more force thinkers to join our work. And your people are teaching us harmony-thinking principles we never imagined, Sarah replied. My species has always believed that any problem could be solved with enough force applied correctly. Your people proved that sometimes force isn't the answer, but sometimes it absolutely is. The alien made musical sounds that Sarah now recognized as laughter. Perhaps the greatest harmony comes from balancing opposing forces. Sarah smiled. Their ship had crashed on an unknown planet, and the locals had indeed started constructing something. But what they had built wasn't just a machine to send the humans home. They had built a bridge between two civilizations, proving that the universe was far more interesting and full of possibilities than anyone had dared to imagine. The crash of the Meridian had been a disaster that became humanity's greatest discovery, not just of alien life, but of the power that came from combining different ways of thinking about the universe. Force and harmony, working together, could reshape reality itself.